Greetings, fellow barbarians. It is I, Alan Odinson, and this is the Barbarian Lounge podcast. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Got a cool show lined up for you. This has been a busy-ass week in the world, in the news world, as well as in my own personal dealings. But I'm here, guys. I am here, and I am riled up. I am ready to go. Let's get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way that we must always do. I will try my best to make it as quick and painless as possible. First off, our website is thebarbarianlounge.com. Go there, check it out. We always got new episodes popping up there. Multiple shows. Always, we got our archives going back. I think our archives are going back to maybe to episode 30, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But we're constantly adding to those as well. You know, obviously our full archives are not there, but when you go there on the BarbarianLounge.com website, obviously you can find the show there, but you can also check out some of the different articles that we have up in there. We got a few articles from some guests that we've had on the show, which I would urge you all to check them out. Also, we have a shop there. When you click on that shop, you'll find our Thuggy Strangulation cords, our very, very popular Thuggy Strangulation cords, as of now been sold all over the world, because here at the Barbarian Lounge, we're interested in making strangulation great again. And, you know, a lot of people get triggered by the word strangulation cord. It's funny, I like telling people that I sell Thuggy Strangulation cords because it actually triggers people. Oh, it's like, what a horrible term. It's like, well, just to let you know, when you're cutting off the air from another person's body, you are strangling them, okay? Funny enough, it's jiu-jitsu people that tend to get really weirded out by it, which is insanely odd to me because, you know, they choke each other all the time. And they even use their own gi to their own clothing to choke each other with. But if you actually use a cord to do it, everybody loses their mind. If that makes any sense. So the Thuggy Strangulation cords are being sold all over the world. A lot of people getting a lot of really good feedback from people saying that they love them. So if you want to pick up yours to help support the broadcast, all of them are handmade, no made in China bullshit. All those are handmade by yours truly. So if you would like a Thuggy Strangulation cord, please go to thebarbarianlounge.com, click on the shop, store. I think it's listed as store. Click on the store. Find we have two different cords there. Find the cord you want, and voila, I will have it made and sent to you. Also, while you're there on the BarbarianLounge.com, I urge you to check out our donate button. By clicking on that donate button, you'll find two options. One of which is a one-time PayPal donation, which is exactly as advertised. I don't need to expand on that any further. The other option is our Patreon. That is our members site. When you click on that link to Patreon, it will take you to our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/Barbarian Lounge. But you click on that link, it'll take you right there. When you go there, you'll be asked to do a donation on a per-show basis. Now, we do a max of 8 shows per month. You may be saying to yourself, wait a second, Odinson, would you only do 4 shows a month? That's because you're not a member. If you were a member, you would know that we do 4 regular shows a month, as well as 4 exclusive broadcasts only available to members. We are right now in the upper 50s on members-only broadcasts. So you guys, right now, this is episode 93. We're up to about 56, 57 on members-only shows. So you guys are missing half the fun. So go there, become a member. Help support the show, man. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The members on our Barbarian Lounge members site on our Patreon page, they are the lifeblood of this show. So if you want to get in there, support the cause, support your local podcaster. Believe it or not, podcasting is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not even a get-rich-slow scheme. It is exactly what it is. We're out here putting the work in, putting the information, putting ourselves out there to be viewed by the public in all its splendor. And, we need your help to keep the broadcast rolling. So go there. Support the broadcast in some way, shape, or form. Get a thug cord, make a one-time PayPal donation, become a member, and receive the perks and benefits, okay? Also, as a member, you will have access to our entire archives going all the way back to episode 1. You also get all of our regular shows early. The last show dropped a little over a week early for our members. So, go there, become a member, support the cause here, guys. The gods know that we absolutely need it. Sponsors, Odinson Archery. Odinson Archery, traditional bows made from non-traditional materials. Go there, check it out. If you're interested in getting into archery, you do not have to break the bank in order to join the Brotherhood of the Bow. Everybody, the big archery businesses out there, the big name companies, which I'm not going to throw their names out here, no shade their way, but let's be honest, they've got a stranglehold on the business. And be perfectly honest with you, they try to stuff out and crush most small archery businesses. Well, Odinson Archery has been going strong, and we are directly challenging these people. We are. We're out there. We're putting ourselves out there. We are boots on the ground, working our asses off to put a quality bow in every hand. Our bows have been sold worldwide, all across the globe, reviewed and tested in Off Grid's Recoil magazine. I mean, guys, I don't know what else I can tell you. Everybody freaks out because they're like, oh, you know, the bows are made of PVC, and oh, that's not any good. That's because the only thing you've ever handled is the garbage that your grandpappy created over the stovetop at home. These bows are put through a process like no other on the market, and they are outperforming, outshooting, and doing amazing things. All right, there's a reason that we're sold worldwide. There's a reason that I'm able to do crazy trick shots. I don't know if you guys saw the last trick shot that I made. You can check out, look up Alan Odinson on YouTube and find the video where I tossed a mini S-shaped carabiner that is, that you put on like a keyring. I threw one of those in the air and shot it with an arrow and stuck it to the target. So, and that was with an Odinson archery bow. So, the proof's in the pudding, guys. The only thing that's stopping you right now is your assumptions, and don't believe the assumptions of the big archery companies out there. Our bows are outshooting and outperforming most of the competition. So go there, check it out, OdinsonArchery.com. All right, folks. I think that's about all the goodies that I have for today, as far as the housekeeping goes. So let's just real quick before we get started. I posted some videos up that I think you guys will find very interesting. I'm already getting some pretty good reviews on them, and I seriously posted them, 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, of some of the catch wrestling stuff that, honestly, I've been doing it for years, and I just haven't really been posting any of it. I had some injuries and some things that were bothering me in the past, and to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't have a lot of bodies that were willing to take the abuse that comes with good old hardcore catch wrestling. Most people think of catch wrestling as just some other type of form of submission grappling. It's no-gi jiu-jitsu, but it's not the case in the least bit. At least not the way that I practice or the way I was taught it. See, my initial learnings were in the art of shoot wrestling. Shoot wrestling, based off of Shuto and those particular styles, are out of Japan, where it was learned from a lot of the English catch wrestlers, guys like Carl Gotch, the guys like that who were going over to Japan for some of the pro wrestling shows, and they were teaching these guys some of these moves. And, so some of it got watered down over the years, but, if you look at the Americanized version of catch wrestling in the Carney days, and now that I'm talking about all this, I need to get a catch wrestling expert on the show to talk about this, because I would love to discuss the roots of American catch wrestling, But, back in the old days, the Carney days, these guys were tough as nails. And, the thing that became Americanized about catch wrestling was the rough and tumble aspect of it. Rough and tumble is basically anything goes. And it's taking that wrestling, that heavy, brutal style of wrestling, and taking it up a notch. They say jiu-jitsu's the gentle art, which jiu-jitsu can be rough too. But if the jiu-jitsu is the gentle art, then catch wrestling is the violent art. I mean, anything goes. Hair pulling, eye gouging, thumbs to the throat, I think I said hair pulling already, small digit manipulation. I mean, just some horrific things that I could show you guys. And I'm going to be showing more of it. I just posted the video of the Strangler Lewis headlock takeover, as well as controlling the headlock on the ground. A lot of people don't even use that headlock because they think it just gives the backup. But a lot of people have missed some of the beauty in that particular technique. So, you know, back in the day when I was really like down with catch wrestling, and I was doing pretty well in the tournaments, and honestly just kind of lost interest in competing in competition. But now that I'm not teaching people, I'm teaching people to fight and teaching people how to hurt people. I'm not interested in the whole tournament aspect of it. I'm not interested in trophies. I'm not interested in medals, any of that shit. I'm interested in teaching other people to hurt other people. And the rough and tumble aspect of catch wrestling is definitely the way to go. If you look at the video I posted of the control technique on the ground of controlling the Strangle Lewis headlock, you'll see me, you know, forearm across the nose, gouge the eye, pull the, I don't think I showed an image of me pulling the ear or ripping the nose, which I did that, when we were training it, when we were showing it. I've got you gotta have really cool training partners that are they themselves are rough and tumble individuals to be able to take some of the stuff that you know that you can put out with the catch wrestling stuff. But you know, I showed, you know, small digit manipulation. They want to reach up and push the face, or they want to grab my beard. They're gonna get their finger bitten off. They're gonna get it broken. It's that simple. There's no fucking around with this. You know, oh, let me control here and put shoulder pressure. No. They want to stick their fingers up in my face, they're going to get them broken. And there's a lot of different ways that we do things like that. So, you know, it's very interesting. I think you guys will enjoy the material. I've tried to post most of it up on the Barbarian Lounge Facebook page. But if you're on Facebook, check out the group Stay Dangerous. Stay Dangerous was started by me, and you can go to the Stay Dangerous group there on Facebook and join it, and you will see techniques from me, discussions from me, as well as other martial artists that I've added to the group that I think you guys will find a lot of it pretty interesting. We've got a nice collection of martial artists there, and you know, I've only included the martial artists that I know are in the hurt business like me. You know, for years and years and years, I focused on this whole aspect of I want to win a tournament, I want to get a belt, I want to compete in MMA, all these things like that. And to be perfectly honest with you, you know, now that I'm older, now I'm just teaching people to hurt other people. I mean, it's just plain and simple. You know, the martial arts world, we're in the hurt business. You know, if you listen to my episode on Stay Dangerous, we're in the hurt business. We're not in this, I'm not in any business to sell belts. I'm not in any business to win trophies, to line my wall with medals and trophies and show everybody how great we are. What I want to have happen is one of my guys steps on the mat with anybody, and they get a hold to them, and they realize that, oh shit, this is different. This is not something I'm used to, right? You know, I want them to, when, you know, they get hold of your hand, they're looking to break your fingers, break your wrist, and whatever the hell else can be broken in the process. Okay, so I think you guys will enjoy the rough and tumble aspect. I'd love to get some people on here. I've got some friends that I know of that would be really good for this. I tell you, when I really think about like catch wrestlers that I would love to get on the show, I would love to get Eric Paulson on the show. Eric Paulson has probably forgotten more about martial arts than I will ever know. And I've met Eric. My instructor learned under Eric, and I've learned a bit under Eric as well. I'd love to get maybe Eric or even maybe possibly Josh Barnett on the show. That'd be pretty cool. Probably be easier to get Eric than it would be Josh, but you know, I think it would be a very, very interesting broadcast. So we'll see. I'll try and put that in the work because those guys would definitely offer an insight that most people would not really know about. So. All right, so this week, guys, that's my little martial arts rough and tumble speech there. This week, so we have Valentine's Day this week, and Valentine's Day was completely and utterly overshadowed by the shooting that happened in Florida, the school shooting. And, you know, I mean, it's funny when the whole thing happened. It's gotten to the point where, for most people who aren't crying, boo-hooing leftists, most people on the right, as soon as we see one of these fucking shootings, man, all of us are like, oh boy, here it comes. Because, you know, the nature of the left, the nature of the communist left, those guys, only thing they're interested in is votes. They're interested in seizing emotion whenever they have the chance to do it. And these school shootings are the perfect time, because you know how they are. What about the children? What about the children? That's what we hear. And you know, and I'm not completely heartless to the matter. I do absolutely understand that it's a horrible incident. As a parent, and I know a lot of you listen to this are parents, I would not want to have to go through that. That's a nightmare scenario. You know, it's kind of one of those situations where, you know, as a parent, you kind of grow up, or you know, when you're raising your kid, you're their protector, right? And many people feel that when they send them to school, they should be safe. You know, they should be safe at school. I shouldn't have to worry. And, you know, I can understand that mentality completely. I understand that. But it's kind of like I've talked about in the past, where we have this epidemic in this country of I should be able to and I shouldn't have to. Right? We hear that all the time. I shouldn't have to worry about so-and-so. I should be able, like, you know, I should be able to walk down the street and not get catcalled. I should be able to walk down the street, you know, you hear ladies say, I should be able to walk down the street with, you know, a mini skirt on and my titties half hanging out and not get catcalled. You know, I should be able to walk down the street in South Central and not have to worry about getting robbed. I shouldn't have to worry about every single time there's a fucking shooting, Democrats trying to come for my firearms. I shouldn't, but you do. You know, I mean, we have this thing where everybody believes for some reason that reality doesn't apply to them. And we can try and legislate and come up with all these different ideas and policies of trying to somehow magically create this world where you should be able to do anything you want to, but reality just doesn't dictate that. You know, I should be able to walk through the woods without having to worry about being attacked by a coyote or a bear. Nature doesn't give a fuck. Predators are going to do what predators are going to do. There's only we have to have a certain level of preparedness for this in the world. You know, as a parent, I've heard many parents say, you know, I should be able to send my kid to school and not have to worry about these things. You should. But that's not reality. Because you can't dictate, you can't legislate, you can't magically create some force field around your kid that's going to protect them from the dangers of the world. The world doesn't care. It has no care. Oh, well, you know, I should be able to send them there and they'd be safe. Right. They should also be able to ride in a car with you and be safe. They should also be able to sit in their house and not have to worry about getting shot through the window. They shouldn't ever have to worry about when they're old enough to driving a car and getting in a car accident. But they do. They do. The world does not revolve around this false reality that we've created here. Human beings, for some reason, believe that somehow we've created this reality where we can dictate what should happen and what shouldn't happen. But nature has different plans. Nature has different plans. A predator is always going to look for the easy target. You know, you look at a lion. When a lion is hungry, and there's an entire herd of animals running, does he chase the biggest, strongest, fastest animal out there? Does he go for the one that's always watching and looking and trying to keep an eye out to make sure there's no danger coming? No! He's looking for the weakest, the slowest, and the one that's not prepared. In most instances, that's children. That's nature. That's reality. That's how things go down. You know, we want to believe that somehow we shouldn't have to worry about this and you know, some magical thinking that creates this reality where these things don't exist, but they do. The best you can do is prepare for them. And, you know, and some people would make the argument, they would hear this and say, I can hear the whining leftist now. Well, you know, a kid carrying a gun is not exactly something in nature. That's something that man's created, and we have to do something about these tools. Okay. All right. So, let's say you remove the gun from the equation. So you've removed the tool from the equation. What is going to stop this same kid from getting in a vehicle, whether it's his or stolen, and waiting for all the kids to be leaving school and they're all walking across the street and going out to their buses? What prevents him from running his car through the crowd of students? Right? The argument that people will make about, you know, the AR-15 and everything, they'll say, well, you know, this just makes it easier. It's got, I'll speak in leftist lingo, it's got a 30-round clip. 30-round clip. It's got a 30-round mag, and, you know, they say, well, it's just easy. He's just pulling the trigger. Bang, bang, bang. What is easier than getting in your car and driving in a straight line? Hell, he doesn't even have to drive in a straight line. Matter of fact, he probably hit more people if he didn't drive in a straight line. There's been many cases overseas where some wigged out muzzy has stolen a van or some sort of moving truck and just found the most crowded street in the land and drove down it, hit everybody, jumped out, yelled Aloha snack bar, and started stabbing everybody he could find with a fucking kitchen knife taped to his hands. And you want to tell me that somehow removing the tool from the equation would stop it? No, he would just have to figure out another way. For some reason, we're under the assumption that human beings haven't been able to figure out a way. There's a reason we're at the top of the food chain. For the most part, the human being is one of the weaker animals on this planet. We don't have sharp claws. Our teeth aren't very sharp. We're not super strong. We don't have, well, I do because I'm a fucking savage, but most people don't have hair on their bodies, so they can't keep warm. Right? I mean, human beings are a weak animal. The reason we've made it to the top of the food chain is because we use our brains and we develop tools to enable us to do our job easier. This is why he will come up, the predator will come up with a tool to kill. The kid could have spent 30 minutes on the fucking internet and figured out how to make a Molotov cocktail just because I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt of being slow as shit. But he can figure out how to make a Molotov cocktail, get on a fucking school bus, and turn that thing into a fucking oven. Right? I mean, come on, people. For some reason, we're under the assumption that if we remove the tool from the equation, that somehow it's going to change things. It's not. You have, in your lifetime, you have zero guarantee that you or your children are going to be safe. You cannot send your kids anywhere. There is no place right now that your kids can be this safe. Oh, but they're with me. They're safe. Really? I mean, I hate to be Captain Scare Tactic here, but they can have a fucking aneurysm or a blood clot. Just bam, go just like that and drop in your fucking arms. There ain't shit you can do about it. Right? Fucking bear could come out and knock you the fuck down and maul your kid and run off with him. What the fuck are you gonna do? You fucking hairless ape, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. He's going to take your fucking kid and there's nothing you can do about it. There is no level of safety that you can guarantee for anybody. We just have to be, now there's certain levels that we can do to ensure certain barriers of safety. Now that's always the argument to be had. And the leftists will say, well, one of those barriers of safety will be removing guns. First off, let's just magically say that you instituted a gun ban, okay? Today's the day that you say, you know what? Congress lost their mind. Donald Trump flipped over, and he turns out to be a Cobra Commander double agent type individual, and he says, aha! Now I've tricked everybody. We've got the school shooting, and now we will take the guns away. That plan happens. Let me tell you something. There's more guns in the United States than there are people. Good fucking luck. Because let's just completely forget about the fact that you're not going to be able to do it. But let's talk about exactly how easy it would be. Now, I love to hear people talk about removing guns. They'll say, I love this. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I did not know any better until I started working at a gun shop. I didn't know any better. How many times have you heard the statement, well, my gun's registered in my name? Let me tell you something. Unless you live in a state that has a registry that you have to sign to register your guns, your gun is not registered in your name. There's no national registry at all. When you fill out that paperwork, so a lot of people will freak out. They don't want to do paperwork they don't want to get a private sale because I don't want the government knowing what I got. The government don't fucking know what you got. Let me tell you how the process goes for buying a firearm, okay? I'm going to give you guys some inside intel. All right. So when you go to buy a firearm, what happens is you give your information, you fill out your paperwork and all that. you give it to the employee there, and the employee goes and calls NICS. So which is the firearms, they run the background checks. So when you go and they call it in, I used to do this all the time. That was kind of my job because I was really good at it, and I could talk to NICS okay, and I didn't have any problems with them. So honestly, my boss was just too lazy to do it himself. So I would go and call it in, and they ask for name. They ask for the information that you put on the front. I don't remember if they ask for address or not. I don't think they do. Matter of fact, social security number is even optional. You don't even have to do that. Okay. So when they get this information, I believe they do get get that information. I think it's been a while, guys, so forgive me. I think they get any sort of pretty much the information that you fill out at the top is done. Okay. Now, when you're doing that form, you basically are checking whether or not you got a handgun or a long gun. Okay. This is the main thing I want to get to: the handgun or the long gun. So when they get to the handgun or the long gun, you check which one you want, right? Or which one you're getting. When NICS asks you, basically, when they say, this is what they'll say. They'll say handgun, long gun, or other. And you will say, I don't know, handgun. Handgun, okay. That is all they ask for. They don't ask for the serial number. They don't ask for make and model. They don't ask for any of that shit. None. They do not ask for it. Because they're not running a check on the gun. They're not running a registry on the gun. All they are doing is checking your background and whether you can own said firearm. That's it. That's the only thing they're doing. All of the paperwork where you fill out serial number, make and model, and all that stuff, that is done by the gun shop owner, and it is kept on file there. Now, here's the big thing that throws a lot of people off they don't know as well. They say, oh, well, that information is listed. Yes, it is. It's listed on the paperwork. However, that information has to be, according to the NICS regulations, or ATF regulations, that information has to be kept as a physical paper copy only. There's no database that you enter this information in. There's no, national firearms database where you enter this information in. None of that. It has to be kept paperwork only. And it has to also be kept in-house at the firearms dealer. That's it. So, knowing all that, if for some reason they said, you know what, we got to do something about the gun problem here in the United States, so we're going to say national registry. You have to register your guns. Well, the first thing they're going to have to do is, for the most part, in order to make this happen, they're going to have to depend on the honor system. Okay? Because if they decide to go through the paperwork, because a company that is a firearms company that does these, they have to store and keep all of these physical records in their business until the business closes. Forever. Okay? So that means that in order for them to do this, they're going to have to go through the billions and billions of paperwork that exists all over the United States, physical paperwork, go through it and find who bought what. Now, the big thing comes into play that the whole private sale issue. The private sale issue, you don't need paperwork to do it. Right? So, let's say I own 3 guns, right? And they somehow magically find these things and they go, well, we're going to go visit Alan Odinson. They visit me and they say, hey, we've got paperwork here that says you own 3 guns. And I go, nope, sold those about 2 years ago. I ain't owned a gun in about 2 years. What are they going to do? Right? What are they going to do? Trust me, if they come in looking for it, it's not going to be here. Because, I sold them. See, this is the thing, man. This is what people don't understand. These fucking liberals and fucking communist leftists that are out there baying like sheep and crying, that are out there boo-hooing, trying to figure out what to do, they can't come to the realization that there's not shit you can do about guns in America. They are here. And Americans aren't giving up their guns. They're just not going to do it. You can try all you want to, and you can throw this legislation and try and guilt trip and boo-hoo-hoo people all you want to. It's not going to fucking work. It's not going to work. It is a logistical nightmare. They would have an easier time trying to control the entire United States via martial law, which, FYI, they couldn't. I know a lot of people like to throw that out as a scare tactic. I'm telling you right now, if they wanted to control the entire United States via martial law, impossible. They do not have the manpower. It is a logistical nightmare. So, all these people throwing out this fucking nonsense is, what are we going to do about the gun? You know, good luck. And, you know, they'll throw out the whole thing of, well, we just want to do something about mentally ill people getting the guns. Okay. You know, that seems reasonable, right? Well, here's the problem. And I'm going to toss these problems out there because, hell, we're all about solutions here. Let's talk about it, guys. You know, I'm not here to defend one way or the other. Although, obviously, I lean more right-wing. But, you know, these are just problems that I'm saying, okay, leftists, let's see you fucking solve this. Okay? So, mental illness. All right, so they talked about this kid down there in Florida, and they say, you know, we want to do something to keep guns out of the hands of mentally ill people. And it's funny to me that this was the first line that was getting thrown out. To which, you know, I read this and I'm like, okay, well, somebody didn't do their job, right? You know, we'll forget about the fact that the FBI was too busy chasing bogus Trump Russia connections under Hillary Clinton. We'll forget about that. You know, they were too busy to do that, and they didn't pay attention to the school shooting. We'll just skip over that. You know, all the warnings that they received, because I loved it. I'm gonna do a little sidebar here. I love the fact that this kid supposedly left a YouTube comment saying he was going to be a professional school shooter, right? And the FBI says, yeah, we got report about it, but we couldn't find out who sent it. Get the fuck out of here. You mean to tell me on YouTube, a public social network, that this kid could write this, it gets reported, and through your contacts and YouTube's ability to track your IP, which they can do, that they couldn't find out who did it? Bullshit. Okay? So I'll throw that bullshit. Here we go. Where's my bullshit sticker? I'm gonna stamp it on this. There we go. Bullshit sticker applied. Bullshit. Okay? So we'll look over that, okay? So they were saying, you know, we got to do something to get mentally ill people, keep them from getting guns. That was the first line that gets thrown out. Now, it was amazing to me that this came out hours after the shooting, within the first day, when very little information was available about this kid. Sure, we knew he had been expelled. We knew he had discipline problems, but hell, I've known kids like that in school. No mention whatsoever in anything that this kid had mental health issues. None. Well, he was taking medicine for behavior problems. Like what? This is the thing. This is where the people don't, you know, this is where the people that are calling for this, they don't quite get it. If this kid was not hospitalized, committed, or any sort of official paperwork was written up that this kid had mental health issues, mental health problems, he had been, you know, getting medicated for this, medicated for that, a serious mental health issue that could cause him to be dangerous. If no official paperwork was filled out, there's nothing you could have done to stop this kid from getting a gun. There's where the problem lies. It's also where the danger lies. Because I start asking myself, well, you know, if they were to try and amend this somehow, what would be the definition of a mental health issue? Oh, because the kid posts guns on his Instagram? Most people did. By the way, most of those guns were airsoft. They even had the old orange tip on them. One of them was the old Crossman pellet pistol. But, you know, media don't know that. It's a big scary gun. They even posted a thing of him holding an airsoft gun up, an airsoft pistol, with the little orange cap on the end. And one of the major news organizations said, we don't have any word whether or not this was one of the guns that was used. It just shows how fucking clueless they are. But if no official paperwork was filled out, no doctor signed anything, nothing was filed with the court, I mean, there's nothing you can do to stop it. My concern about the whole mental health thing is, who's going to decide what is a mental health issue? I've heard rumors in the past that people that believe in conspiracy theories, that's a form of mental illness. So, I mean, all right. And then we start running into definitions of what's a conspiracy theory. Is it something that doesn't go along with the mainstream? Well, we got a problem. Okay? So I have problems with these things because they have very unclear definitions. It's kind of like the whole thing of I always make a joke about it because I trigger the shit out of people when I talk about this, about the driving in the fast lane on the interstate, right? They say, "Oh, don't drive slow in the fast lane." I'm like, "What's the definition of slow in the fast lane?" Right? Oh, well, is it 5 miles over the speed limit? Is it going the speed limit? Is it going under the speed limit? Is it going 10 miles over the speed limit? What is the definition of drive? Because I've seen things where they wanted to make it a harsher penalty for people that drive slow in the fast lane. And I'm like, well, what's the fast lane? And it's like, people will give me a lot of different things. I say, so technically, if it's legal for me to drive fast in the fast lane, and there's no specific definition, I can drive as fast as I want, as long as, I'll drive as fast as they want me to, as long as when I get pulled over by the cops, I can use that argument. So, well, officer, I was in the fast lane. And I know the whole thing about the passing lane and all that stuff, but I could go round and round the arguments on that. I always love to get in that conversation because people get so pissed off about it. But, when you have unclear definitions of these things, it leaves it open to interpretation. And that is one of the big problems I have with this whole, we got to do something about mentally ill people. What's the definition of someone who's mentally ill? There should be some sort of official paperwork. If there's official paperwork filed, well, then we got something to stand on. But with no official paperwork, what do? I'll give you a clear example. South Carolina has a policy, and I don't know about other states. Maybe some of you guys know what I'm talking about, and you can comment on it. South Carolina, where I live at, whenever you run the background check here, it actually goes through the probate court in South Carolina, runs and connects with the background checks here. So if you have any issues of mental illness here in South Carolina, they run a background check. If there's been any official paperwork filed, it will show up on the background check and you'll get denied. I had a guy one time, I was selling a gun to a guy one time at the gun shop, and he's going through the paperwork, and he said he wanted a gun for self-defense. And I was like, okay, cool, that's what a lot of people want them for. So I feel he does the paperwork, and I call it in, and by the way, whenever the NICS, whenever they deny you, they either say approved or denied. That's it. We don't know shit about it, okay? So that gets past all the little HIPAA laws and stuff for mental illness. If you want to find out why you were denied, you have to go through an appeal process, and it's like pulling teeth. So this guy, he fills out the paperwork, I call it in, and he gets denied. I take it back in there to him, and I'm like, sorry, bro, you got denied. Here's a little pamphlet, tells you how to appeal it and see what's going on, and find out. And I asked him, I said, he was like, oh, that's weird. And I said, yeah, I said, have you ever been, in prison for anything? I know it's kind of a weird question, but, domestic violence or anything like that, assault. He's like, no, never. And I was like, huh. He said, well, I was in the hospital a while back and they diagnosed me as paranoid schizophrenic. I said, that's probably what it is. That's probably what it is. And he's like, well, I really need to get this gun because I think somebody's out to get me. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably why, dude. So a paranoid schizophrenic was afraid that someone was out to get him and he needed a gun. But because the probate court was connected to South Carolina background checks, he got denied. So if official paperwork is filled out, ta-da, problem solved. But the thing is the thing that I kept hearing about this, because I brought this up. I said, well, I haven't heard of any official paperwork being filed that said this kid had mental illness problems, okay? And I got a lot of people responding saying, well, he should have been in a mental institution. Everybody tried to get him help and all these things, and he should have been committed, or should have been in a hospital, or should have had something done. And here we go right back full circle to that shoulda. He should have, but he wasn't. If it would have happened for him, then maybe he would have got denied. I don't know what Florida's laws are, but maybe he would have got denied. There would have at least been some sort of official paperwork. But the fact of the matter is, you can't go with a should've. Because when you start saying shoulda, that's adding some sort of emotion to the issue, and that's not what we need to look at this from. We need to look at this from a fact-based standpoint. And if this kid did not have any issues where he was ever sent to a mental health institution, where he was diagnosed with some sort of mental health issue, where official paperwork was filled out, all of the fucking shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff is not going to hold up. It still would not work. So what are we talking about here, people? What are we talking about? This is just another opportunity from these sick, demented, opportunistic, communist leftists that have occupied the Democratic Party since I've been gifted upon this fucking planet. This is the same people, these disgusting people, are looking for an opportunity to push through their bullshit. That's all it is. That's the fact of the matter. That's the fact of the matter. They want to throw out, they keep talking about this common sense gun control. Well, most of Americans want common sense gun control. Really? Really? Where exactly did you get that information? Nobody fucking called me. How many of you listen to this show right now had somebody from the government call you and ask you if you favor gun control? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I fucking thought. See, the whole idea, and let's be honest, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. The communist left, these fucking cultural Marxists, they control the entertainment, they control the media, they control, they tend to have the narrative under control. They're starting to control most of the social media. They sway and push public opinion. So they figure if they can keep saying, most of Americans want this, and they keep saying it, eventually you'll get enough people who don't have the time to look into information and just assume that the government's telling them the truth. They assume eventually that people will go, well, gee, most Americans do want it. So, and it's absolute horse shit. Absolute horseshit. The whole polling industry, the whole, we took this poll, polls are showing, that's all designed to sway public opinion. I have never been called for a fucking poll. From anybody. It's complete garbage. Complete and utter garbage. But they're gonna keep pushing this. They're gonna keep pushing it. And I'm gonna do, this week for my members only show, just a heads up, this week for my members only show, available on our members site, it's patreon.com/Barbarian Lounge. You can go to the donate button, click on that, and click the Patreon link, and it will take you to the thing where you can become a member. I'm actually going to talk about solutions that you can do for your children when you send them out. So, stay tuned for that if you're a member. If you're not a member, stop sitting on the sidelines, get in the fucking fight, man. There's not a lot of people out there that's got the fucking balls to sit here and say the things I'm saying. There's not a lot of people out there that are willing to break it down. Most of them are either on the far right going, "They're not taking my guns, you ain't gonna do it." And then you got the other side of the far left going, "We need to really do something about these guns that are out there. We need to do something about the children. We need to save the children." So I am here presenting to you a logical argument, I'm breaking down the fucking fact versus the emotion that they're throwing out there. Get in the fucking fight, guys. Spread this show around, something. I don't give a shit what you do. Just get in the fight. There's come a time where you gotta quit sitting on your hands. You gotta quit sitting on your hands and get into the fucking fight. Right? So, and the thing that got me too, I'm sure you guys have heard about this, I posted something about it. The whole, and what's funny is it was actually started by Ben Shapiro. The whole, the kid was a white nationalist, part of a white nationalist group. First off, Ben Shapiro may be very correct about a lot of things. Ben Shapiro is, you listen to him talk about this and talk about that, and, he's he is very, very much correct about a lot of the things that he's talking about. He talks, about the issue with the transgenders and, Islamic extremism. He's correct about a lot of those things. But he's also full of shit on a lot of things. Full of shit on a lot of things. Because he does come at things from an agenda most times. I've had some friends that have been connected with him in the past that know him, and they say he's a complete and utter Zionist shill. And I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but if when you look at the proof in the pudding, it's pretty frightening. But he threw out this whole idea that this kid was a white nationalist, and from the get-go, that's fucking hilarious. That's fucking hilarious because they were saying this kid was part of a white nationalist group that was interested in creating an ethno-state. Ethno-state, if you don't know what that is, that's basically a state with one ethnicity, okay? For the most part. I mean, I did an entire episode on ethno-state and how I thought it was complete garbage to ever think it's going to work. Not that I would even want it to work, man. I mean, so we have to think about this, okay? So let's look at this again from a logical perspective. They want me to believe that Nicolas de Jesus Cruz was a member of a white nationalist group. Does that sound strange to anybody else? Nicolas de Jesus Cruz, white nationalist. I tell you what, if that group that he's a part of are a bunch of racists, let me tell you, they're the worst fucking racists I've ever seen. So you mean to tell me that this group allowed a Hispanic kid into their group? That's what you're telling me. That's what you want me to believe. And I've seen pictures of the guy that was, I don't remember the guy's name, was Jared something. I don't want to give him any publicity because he's a fucktard. He's a criminal, convict, a fucking joke. He was one of the guys that was involved with the threatening of the Senator Scott staffer. So he's a complete fucktard. But they want me to believe that this group of racists who is intent on creating an ethno-state filed in this Hispanic kid. I don't know if he's Mexican. Hispanic kid. Filed him into the group. And this kid wanted to train with them and learn to help them create an ethno-state. There's a problem there, folks. Because that's not the way it works, okay? Why would anybody with any sense whatsoever do that on either side? On either side. Come on. Get the fuck out of here. Which the reality is you had a group. You had a group of white and I wouldn't even know if I'd call them a group. What? They're supposed to be like 7 or 8 people. I think I saw that online. You have a group that is that was an ADL source. Okay? So what does that mean? ADL source? Or the Anti-Defamation League? What does that tell me if they're an ADL source? That means they're probably working for the ADL. Do you think the ADL is going to throw any sort of shade, any sort of pro shade towards any group that claims to be a white nationalist group? I mean, I don't care what you think about white nationalists at all, but the fact of the matter is the logic behind the whole thing doesn't make any sense at all. They somehow managed to take this and flip it and turn it against pro-white groups. Because, surprisingly enough, a lot of white nationalists don't even want a fucking ethno-state. Go figure. Shocking, isn't it? It blows my mind that this was carried by countless news agencies. You know, it shouldn't fucking blow my mind. It shouldn't blow it at all because, let's be honest, what was I saying earlier? That these cultural Marxists, they control the narrative on the media side. They control the entertainment world. It's ridiculous. So, you know, we hear all these things coming from the media, and I had to ask myself. I said, you know, when the Las Vegas shooting happened, ISIS came out immediately and said, "Yep, that's our guy right there. Yep, Aloha Snack Bar. Good for that guy." Man, he went out there and took out the infidel, right? And pretty much immediately, the media sources weren't carrying it at all. I think I might have saw it mentioned on Fox, but it was quickly like, we don't really think that's true. But it wasn't a national headline at all. Completely overlooked. And I don't necessarily think the guy was with ISIS or anything, by the way. But it was completely overlooked. The ADL comes out and says our source, who is working for us, which that's basically what that means when they say source, it says he's part of a white nationalist group. Picked up everywhere. There was the fucking headline of Drudge. It was on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, fucking RT. You name them, they had it listed that, we knew it. We knew those white nationalists were going to attack one day. It's terrible. And everybody started losing their minds. That quick. But ISIS says the same thing, and they're like, whoa, let's not everybody get carried away. There's no information that confirms that in the least bit. We're looking into it. ADL's little pony there in Tallahassee says, he's part of our white nationalist group. This Hispanic kid is part of our white nationalist group. Yep. And everybody goes, up. Yep, confirmed. We knew it. Round them up. To the gulags. We knew it. Complete and utter horse shit. Now, of course, the information's come out now, but it's not being carried in national sources. By the way, you can only find it in alternative media sources that actually found where the information was listed, where that's not the case. Now, the police are saying there's no connection that we've been able to find. But do you think that's been reported? Do you think there's been any sort of recanting from the mainstream media? Nil. Zero. None. This morning, I saw Fox News talking about it. It amazes me that we live in a day and age where they can take something like that and fucking flip it around when a Hispanic kid commits a mass shooting, and they can flip it around and say this kid was involved with white nationalists. Get the fuck out of here. How in the hell did that play out? And there was a shit ton of fake news that started out. And I'll admit, it even got me in the get-go of the kid, doing like the fist power thing with the Antifa, the Antifa shirt on, and he's a member of Antifa Resistance. Not true. That's not true at all. It was complete fucking fake news. I hate the internet, man. And I think to an extent that fake news is orchestrated somewhat. I remember there was an excellent, this season of the X-Files has been completely just on point and banging this year. There was an episode that was kind of a comedy episode. I think it was called like the Hidden Art of Forehead Sweat, something ridiculous like that. But they were talking about fake news, and you always hear them say that they're out to get us, or it's all what they want. They had a character on there called Dr. They, and Dr. They was responsible for like all the horrible shit that had ever happened. This was like a joke episode, okay? And at one point, Fox Mulder interviews Dr. They, and Dr. They is like, he's like, fake news doesn't even matter anymore. He's like, we're in an age right now where it doesn't even matter what's the truth and what isn't the truth, because we can put the truth out in front of everybody to see. And it just gets lumped in with fake news. Because there's so much fake news out there that everyone just doesn't even know what to believe. And I think that's almost fucking how it is right now, man. There's so much fake news out there, it's so difficult to decipher what's what. Everyone is out to get a click. Everyone's looking for that clickbait. Go to my site, check it out, check out my sponsors, blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, you've been led astray. You don't know where to go. And that's where we're at right now. And it's crazy. I saw it. You see it all the time. I hear, there's multiple shooters and all that fucking bullshit. And I'm sure there's some people out there that's probably bought into that narrative. I'm just going to tell you right now, in most situations, there have been so many different cases like this where they're like, there was multiple shooters here, multiple shooters there. And it's complete and utter horseshit. People say, the eyewitnesses reported this. Anybody in law enforcement, anybody that understands the stress factors that go into extreme situation like a mass shooting, there's going to be such conflicting reports. People are going to see things. People are going to hear things that aren't going to connect together. I mean, that is just the nature of the beast. Okay. So a lot of people that don't understand these aspects will just immediately go to that. But I think there's so much of the fake news narrative that's out there that most people are just so confused. They don't even know what to believe anymore. At the end of the day, though, guys, I'm going to make this the last call of the show here. Last call, guys. At the end of the day, it's not about getting emotional on either side of the ball, okay? We don't want to get far right where we're like, you're never going to take my guns, liberty or death. You don't want to get that aspect, and you also don't want to be over there where you're like, we have to do something about the poor children. We don't want to go there either. We have to meet somewhere in the middle and logically break these things down. If we're not breaking them down from a logical standpoint, we're actually talking about real life solutions and real things that we can do to prepare our children for the dangers of the world. Fuck mass shootings, fuck sending them to school or anything that happens out in public. The dangers of the world are ready, willing, and able to consume you and your children. So we have to prepare them for that and lose ourselves from this emotional mindset of, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh, something's got to be done. Enough is enough. What about the kid? We can't fall into that category. We have to be willing to take a step back, use our minds, use our words, use our thoughts to break down a logical argument that is going to make people understand exactly where we're coming from. Because the fact of the matter is, you're not going to convince the left one way or another. You're not going to recruit them to your cause. You're not going to wake them up. You're not going to wake everybody up to your cause. It's not going to happen. We have to be ready, though, to be able to make their logic fold in on them. That's the way you defeat these people. It's not by arguing with them. And the gods know that I'd love to take my fist and smash these guys in the face sometimes. But most of the time, how we have to handle it is we have to use our words. We have to be able to carry out a logical argument and make these people understand where we're coming from. Let their fallacies, let their false sense of reality, let that fold in on them. Their argument is weak. That's why they go for emotion. That's why we have to break it down from a logical standpoint, from a position of strength. All right, guys, I am going to wrap this show up. Man, that was a good show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it as always. Thank you for joining me here in the Barbarian Lounge. Remember, if you want more of the Barbarian Lounge, you want to become a member, check us out. Go to thebarbarianlounge.com. Click on the donate button. Click on the Patreon link. Become a member per show basis. 8 shows a month. If you do the minimum of $1 per episode, you're spending $8 a month to support this broadcast. That is not much to ask for you to get in the fight. Quit sitting on your hands. The time is now. Join the Barbarian Horde. That's it, my fellow barbarians. We are out of here. I am closing the lounge down for today. So now, my fellow barbarians, this broadcast of the Barbarian Lounge is closed.
Question everything. Intelligent radio for intelligent people. UCY.tv